this was Belta Blues Sunday mornings or blues climb mornings lesson on all the different ways to lead a turn. And the main idea of the lesson is the more of these that you fit into a turn, the more comfortable and smooth it's going to feel. You won't always be able to use all of them depending on the turn and what you're doing in the dance, but we worked on all the different factors that go into a really smooth, comfortable turn. We started off not using our hands. We can turn people with our hands, but it generally feels kind of uncomfortable if we just do that, and everyone can do that anyway, so we didn't practice it. We started off doing no hands, just using my intention. Imagining a spotlight on my chest and using it to make my partner turn. Once we got that, I led my partner into this turn here, and I made sure to get ahead of them with my intention to signal that I wanted them to keep going, or to stop, to pull them back and line them up with me without using any physical connection. Then we used shaping, so I talked first of all about making a door and having your partner walk through the door, and being able to do the same if I want them to go this way. Not using my arms at all to spin them round, just using as much energy as it takes to lift my arms straight up in the air, and my partner sees a door and it's a pretty obvious invitation to turn. We talked a bit later in the lesson about more complicated like invitation shapes, but the idea of making a shape that encourages your partner to turn was what we were on about. Then we talked about prep, so we did a prep here to make our partner turn, and we also did a prep here, and a prep here. That sort of tied into yesterday's lesson about natural alignment, and also about knowing where your connection is, particularly as a lead. You can make this much harder if I don't know that my connection's here, and I just sort of lose it, and my partner's faithfully seeking out this connection as a great follow, but I'm not really giving it to them. So it's my job as a lead to have my shoulder attached to my frame, and not to lean forwards or lose my arm this way and make it really difficult for my partner. Then we started putting all of those together into doing really smooth turns that use my intention, shaping, and prep to make these turns feel really smooth and lovely, and a bit of arm. Oh, and we also talked about some terrible lies that I told. So somebody asked, why is it that sometimes when we do this turn, my partner will go travelling, and sometimes they'll stay in one spot. And even with just the intention and the shaping with the arm, you can control that by where your intention is if your partner's following well by following where your spotlight's pointing. So if I use my spotlight to ask my partner to move over here, then they're going to end up moving over there. And if I use my spotlight to ask my partner to stay in front of me, they're going to stay in front of me. And then finally, we talked about a couple of advanced things. The first one being, instead of doing like a full prep like this for a turn, if I just sometimes decide I want a little pop turn, I can just make a prep happen like in my torso and use that to lead a turn. And then for some turns, and be very careful when you're starting to practice this, and using no force whatsoever, I can use like the biomechanics of my partner's body to make a turn happen like that. And when we put them all together, this turn feels like completely clear to my partner, but is extremely gentle, like a sort of firm and gentle at the same time. Does that make? Yes, good, great. I'm running out of words, we should stop.
Thank you.